How do we make a color? Like, I know this is weird, but one of the weird things that I said to myself when I was younger that I'd like to be able to leave the earth having done, this is going to make me sound like a waste man, but I'm here for it, is like, imagine if I just made a new color. Like, who made up the fact that this was the color purple, or this was the color red, or this was the color... Yeah, now we got bare colors with bare palettes and that, like you've got mauve and salmon and I know some of these things are used to describe the color that we see, the colors that we see in nature, but who named it though? Who named the color? And has every color been accounted for? I imagine that colors come from that whole spectrum of lighting that we're told, right? And they run from whatever color through to whatever color. But like, is it possible for me to just create a color? Like, I just want to know it. Because if I can leave the world having created my own color, maybe I'll call it Lewis, I don't know. But if I can leave the world having created a whole new color, I'll feel so lit, you know? Because that means forevermore, human beings will use something that I created. Now, there's many things I could create as an alternative, so it makes me sound like an idiot for wanting to create a color of all things. I could be out here creating such powerful things, but I'm here about trying to create a color. But I just want to know, innit? How do you create a color? Because I just think that's dope. Like, imagine you created the color blue. I mean, you didn't create the color blue, God did, but you named it though. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, who named it blue? Who named it red? Who named it yellow? Who named it violet? Do you get what I'm saying? Was there just a person called Violet that said, yeah, I'm gonna just name this color after me? Like, why is Violet getting put on and not me? I need a color. Shout me.
Like this, and you thought.
You know what it is? You also only gave me half. Like, I'm still trying to understand why you only ever pour half. Like, I just want to know. Welcome to another episode of Daily Decisions. That one's on the record that Rhea didn't make eye contact. It's okay. Like, first of all, how are you doing? You good? Like, I don't feel like I don't even feel like I've really checked in with you properly. You know, I feel like we've just been working.
I'm
blood.
definitely.
Do you get what I'm saying? With like,
good.
I feel like since I got back in the country,
We just been on go mode.
no, but I see you Wednesday. That's mad. I see you Wednesday. We went LSE, did the session, then came here and recorded.
Was that on Wednesday?
That was on Wednesday. I got back that morning.
Okay, you got back
Remember,
on Wednesday.
I arrived on the Heathrow tarmac that
and
morning.
then we recorded.
And we went and did a whole workshop at a uni.
Okay.
Came back, recorded. Next day we went to Lingfield.
Yeah. And then
So I didn't see you Friday, obviously, because you don't work Fridays. But then Saturday I shouted you about going to cinema. You didn't roll because you had already been.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, I see you today.
Yeah.
But we spoke yesterday. I was meant to come for Into Success yesterday, but obviously...
We haven't properly caught up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't really ask you if you're alright. I've just allowed us to be working and not even asked if you're okay. Like, you could have been half dying. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I had no idea, but I appreciate the fact that you're good. Do you get what I'm saying? So
I am good.
Here we are. Also, elephant in the room. The reason I'm wearing this t-shirt today, not that people necessarily know what this is, but
I was gonna ask you, did you go to a session earlier?
yeah, I went to. It's days like today that I realise I'm abnormal. Like, some of the things that I can't manage to fit into a day is mad.
I know.
Like,
I very much
but
know.
I'm so used to it, I don't realise.
Yeah.
Like, I really was deep in it. Like, I really got up at 5 a.m. Managed to send a whole, like, very well crafted synopsis of a session that we need to run this Thursday for a very touchy situation with a client to one of my colleagues. Read back the feedback from a report that we're putting together. Went into the kitchen, made fruits for me and the family. Actually had to blend up the sea moss that I had been soaking from yesterday. Did all of that, went gym, came back, then had to print out some stuff needed for a session this morning. Drove to High Wycombe, delivered a session at the university.
Not even in London.
Yeah, but it's not that far though. I'll be honest. Like,
is it like
from me? It only took like 35 minutes. I'll be real.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then drove there, did a session for an hour. Left there, came back home, put my lunch that I was bringing to the office, my lunch and dinner furthermore, bringing to the office into a bag, came to the office, had that first meeting we were in about the work experience program. Then I've been on the phone and in meetings since, trying to sort out a situation. Now we're recording, and I won't get home again until probably like 8:30, let's say. And it's like
9, pushing 9.
And then I'm gonna still read with Nova, bathe her, put her to bed, and then I still got another report that I need to actually do because I gave them my word and I said by
Lewis
yesterday.
is team sleep. As you can tell, Lewis he's been talking for a minute just about things that he's been doing today. And he hasn't even expanded on not one of them.
No, I haven't expanded, but that's what I'm saying. Like when I think about it, that's a lot of things to fit into one day, blood.
A lot of things.
But I was just deep in it, and I was like, but it's quite normal for me though. Like, not always am I necessarily going from doing a session to then being in the office, but put it this way, packing my day is normal is the point I'm making. But yeah.
But
anyway.
But you know what? I had a day like that yesterday, and I love going to bed tired. You know when you go to bed and you're tired. You've done things.
I love that though.
Yeah, that's what I love.
And when you've done that and you eat well, you sleep nice.
Yeah,
Do you get what I'm saying? If you've got too much sugar in your diet, you ain't gonna sleep great. Do you get what I'm saying? Just letting you know. Sorry. But yeah.
Anyway, guys, let's dive straight into Guess Who. This person married a very, very well-known celebrity. The celebrity is a female.
I think I know who it is, but I need another clue to narrow it down.
Okay. This person has been, was drawn out in the past because they decided to share some very, very controversial views.
Kanye West. yeah. I'm too good at this. Hey, listen, can we just all agree?
I picked my person
Can we
before.
just all agree?
Lewis saw my phone.
I didn't see your
I
phone.
was looking
Where's
at
your phone?
No, you was looking
I don't
at
even
my
know where your
phone.
phone is.
Looking at my phone.
Like,
That's why
genuinely.
you can see my phone right
No, I
now.
can see it now, but what I'm saying is, I didn't know where it was.
He's a liar.
Let me tell you something,
liar.
yeah?
No. He doesn't need to tell you
Win.
anything.
Let me say this down the lens. I'm gonna say it down this lens. There's another lens there, but I'm gonna say it down this lens. Winners win. That is it. No, in fact, let me add to that. Winners continue to win. That's it. And guess what? They're still winning. That's it. Let's just leave it there, Ria. Let's just leave it there, okay? You came up with a good person. I'm switched on. Let's move on. Yeah? Put the scores on the board. I believe that is 4 points again. Thank you very much. Sensational.
I don't have anything to say.
I know you don't. So let's move on to the next segment. The 3-word week. Welcome everybody to the 3-word week. So this is where Ria and I both describe our week in 3 words. As you can see, Ria is still hanging her head in the sorrow of having not done so well in that particular segment. Let me give context to my... In fact, no. Let me start with my 3 words. Urgency. Put it on the screen. Adaptation. Stakeholder management. 3 very specific words. Urgency because I mentioned in the last one that I was going to be going to Atlanta. I mentioned in the last one that I've just come back from Atlanta. But what I didn't obviously at the time get a chance to talk about is what's happened since. So obviously I arrived back the morning of getting back from Atlanta. We recorded that day. So we were at university, did a workshop, we recorded. Since then, so I had committed to one of our clients that we are dealing with a very challenging situation with at the moment, in terms of an incident that has caused some genuine pain across the organization, which I know you know some about, but it's actually another team member who's working more closely with me on it. But as a result, I said to everybody when we did these facilitated conversations before I went to Atlanta, I did some facilitated conversations with colleagues to then pull together a report to go to their board. And this report was basically saying, this is what came out in the conversations. In my head, it was going to be an update. Very different to a report. I thought it was just going to be like a little 2-page update. Yo, board, this is what people are feeling like, It's only when I got into the conversations, I was like, there's a lot here. There's a lot here. Do you get what I'm saying?
What, more than what was in the actual report?
There was more that came out of the conversations in terms of not only what people shared, but also what people wanted shared with the board. than anticipated. And so the report went from, in my head, oh, I'll probably send like a 2-page update, to it's currently sitting at 7 pages. Do you get what I'm saying? With an appendix. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's when you know it's a serious thing. So anyway, the reason I bring that up is because the urgency came from the fact that I wanted to keep to my word. So I told people in the second of those facilitated conversations, which took place the day before I went to Atlanta, that I would seek to try and get them a draft of that report within a week of that session, which obviously fell the day after I got back from Atlanta. But even though that was a big commitment to make, I still wanted to try and commit. So Thursday was spent trying to pull that together. Friday was spent, well, tell a lie. Thursday we went to Lingfield and I spent some time trying to put it together. Friday I pulled it together, circulated it to people and said, look, I know it's tight, but you've got until close of play Monday to provide any thoughts, comments, feedback, whatever. And so the urgency just comes in that, like, I'm having to move fast. I'm trying to just pull together different drafts of this thing, responding to people. Like, I was thinking this morning, like, I'm not saying this because I'm bougie or anything like that, but I'm a man that takes my times in communications, innit? I take my time. Like, I'll be real. If I don't see it as urgent, even on WhatsApp, it might take me 7 days, but I'm coming back. Do you get what I'm saying? I am coming back to you.
He really does take his time on WhatsApp when he wants to.
But same goes for like email, all of that. My thing is like, I've got things to do and I will do the things I need to do and I will incorporate relevant communications when needed. But with this, it's not that. This is one of those where it's like, nah, like if you email today, I'm gonna try my best to get back to you within an hour because it's a touchy subject. Do you get what I'm saying? So the urgency comes from all of that. It's like you're corresponding with this colleague, that colleague, like, oh, I need to phone Natalie, I need to be on the phone. Me and Natalie are like immediately just moving at speed. Got the Google Doc open, okay, let's adjust this bit, okay, let's take this out. She's made a comment, let me check the comment. It's mad how fast we're moving. But we're doing all of that because for me, when you make a commitment to a group of people, in fact, let's just even take the word commitment. Like, commitment, in terms of the definition that I've been given, that I live by, is commitment is doing what you said you were going to do long after the feeling in which you said you were going to do it has gone. So that applies to everything. That applies to work, that applies to relationships. Like, you could say, I made a commitment to my partner. The feeling may change, you may go through a rough patch, but it's doing what you said you were going to do long after the feeling in which you said you were going to do it has gone. So the same thing goes with this. I've committed to them that I will get them a draft back in a certain space of time, which means no matter of the fact that I was tired, thinking, like, I haven't really even had a chance to catch up on sleep since I was away on holiday and I was behind on sleep whilst on holiday, doesn't matter, I made a commitment. So I'm going to endeavour amongst all my other commitments to do what I said I was going to do, because my word is important. My word needs to be bond. If I can't give people my word, what kind of person am I? Do you get what I'm saying? So that was why I said, you know what, I have to get them this draft. Got them the draft on Friday. People responding to me Friday evening. I'm responding over the weekend, responding Monday, responding. I'll be real, we're recording this on a Tuesday. Until 10 o'clock last night, I was still responding. Do you get what I'm saying? People were like, do you want to rest and deal with it? I was like, if I don't get it off my head now, it's not fair on anyone. Do you get what I'm saying? So urgency for that purpose. Second thing, fact, do you want to comment or come back on that before I move to the next word?
I just wanted to say that he's right. Commitment is key. When you're going to do something, especially doing it at speed, that's not easy. It's easy to not be committed when you're in a situation where it doesn't align with your schedule, where you haven't carved out time for it, when it just comes up impromptu and you don't know where you're going to fit it in. But that's where your demonstration of commitment really comes into play.
100%. And like, also at the end of the day, you can only move at that level of speed and operate with urgency when you also have ways of managing yourself. So what I'm not mentioning is that, okay, yeah, in and amongst all of that happening and me needing to commit to that, let's break down the things that I did that I think were good for me. I'm not a man that really does the whole, I need a duvet day, or I'm going to go and take time to go to the spa or get a massage. Like, I probably could incorporate those things more, but that's not what serves me. What serves me is stuff like this. So the reason I was able to do all the things I'm talking about is because we had the chance to record on Wednesday. We had the enjoyment of delivering on Wednesday. We're busting joke in between, during, whatever. Thursday, we go to Lingfield Park to see the apprentices on one of the projects. And again, we're busting joke in the car on the way there. We're even recording, do you know what I'm saying? On and stuff like that. So, like, do you get what I mean? So there's bare things going on. So effectively, like, that for me is part of the self-care approach. Friday, I think I just chilled in the evening, but yeah, because I left the office at like 7 and then chilled in. But Saturday, went cinema, do you get what I'm saying? Not even that, actually. Went museum with my missus and my daughter, which I'll talk about later because it's part of one of my other words. went museum, and then went cinema. So it's like had a day with the family. Do you get what I'm saying? Sunday had the chance to kind of just reset for the week, that kind of stuff. So the self-care stuff to some extent for me is still in there, but you have to incorporate that when you have moments where you are having to move at urgency and almost feel like you're at the beck and call of so many people, which can become overwhelming. Second word is adaptation. Adaptation, because things that I would normally do, that I had to adapt my normal approach in order to accommodate my current priorities. So for example, I had no plan on Saturday. I woke up in the morning, my missus goes, oh, I was planning to take Nova to the museum today. What are you doing today? Do you want to come? Oh yeah, 100%. So now my day is about going to the museum and having a family day. And then I was like, oh, by the way, I'm thinking maybe we could go and see the Bob Marley film after. My cousin Marcus also so happened to be interested in going. My cousin Ramar said he was free, so he would roll. Obviously I shouted you as well, but you had already seen it. So it ended up being a nice, like, we did our museum thing, then went straight to the cinema, linked them, man, watched the film. Do you get what I'm saying? So that made the week a bit adaptable. But also yesterday I had to adapt. So we normally have Sprint to Success on a Monday. I was like, Rhea, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I'm not vitally needed,
literally,
I would prefer to have the time, and the time was needed because me and Natalie were on the phone for 4 hours, like 4 hours. I'm not joking.
4 hours, you know.
Between like either 5 and 9 or 6 and 10. I can't remember the timings. I think maybe between 5 and 9. We were literally. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna try and find exactly how long that.
You know what? It's funny because he, like you guys know, we run a project called Sprint Success. He wasn't able to come yesterday, and my adapting to him not being able to come. Like, he wasn't able to come for the last 2 weeks, actually.
One, I was out of the country, so allow me, but yeah.
Yeah, one, he was out of the country, but he still wasn't able to come. And that week there, I had to go and buy refreshments for the session myself.
Rhea is a general.
Listen, the first week, when I had to hold newspapers, I had to hold the stuff we were doing, vision board and art. So I had to hold all of that on one shoulder, then 2 bags carrying in my hand. By the time I got to the venue, my face was dripping. Dripping in sweat. So yesterday I said, nah, that's not happening. I had to, I'm not gonna lie guys, it stays between you and I had to,
make this go viral, but yeah, go on.
I had to nab a trolley from Tesco. You know the little pull along trolleys from Tesco, because there was no way I was walking with the same equipment and refreshments. I'll insert a video here. But literally, that's what you have to do sometimes. Sometimes you have to adapt to the situation.
Rhea stole the trolley.
Regardless of what anybody in London Bridge thinks of you walking through the street.
Boy. Alright, I'm doing the adding up here. So between 4:30 and just after 8, we were on the phone 10 minutes, 25 minutes, that's 35, 2 hours 35. Okay, 2 hours 45. It was
2 hours
3 hours. So it's
basically 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah, pretty much. There might have been a Zoom call in there though. There might have been a Zoom call as well. That's why I'm saying it might have been 4, but put it this way, 3 hours on just the phone alone. So anyway, adaptation, because, you know, I'm having to make adjustments as a result of that. Even down to yesterday, in fact, furthermore. So my intention was to come to the office for 10 and take all the meetings that I had scheduled yesterday from here. Because of the fact that I went bed later on Sunday than I wanted, by the time I got up in the morning Monday and did what I needed to do, go gym, whatever, I was like, I'm going to take my first meeting at 10 from home, then I'm going to go to the office. But then it was like, after my first meeting, one phone call comes in, okay, I need to deal with that. So now it's like, well, actually, let me not bother go to the office yet. Let me wait until after this phone call, go to the office. I said, I'll leave my house 12:15, make it to the office for my 1 o'clock meeting. I left my house at like 12:19, blew to the station for the train.
Did you get it?
Train was cancelled.
Oh.
That's got me mad because I got there a minute early and the train was cancelled.
Oh.
You know when you put in a strong jog? I'm not talking about I jogged the last bit.
Did your calves
hurt? No. I'm in very, very good shape, so I never feel hard when I get to the station. But the point is, I've blown to the station for the train to be cancelled. And you know something said to me when I left my house? What if the train's cancelled? But I ignored it because I thought, nah, man, I'll be alright. Train was cancelled.
So then it was like, means a lot. Your intuition will tell
that's what I'm saying. But now it's like I ain't gonna make my 1 o'clock. So
you might as well go home.
Literally, I just went back home, took my 1 o'clock from there. I said, alright, I'm gonna take my 1 o'clock from there, do that from 1 to 1:30, 1:30 to 2:30. I'll take that meeting as well. Then I'll go to the office, be there for 3:15, meet with Natalie for an hour, then come to Sprint to Success. Natalie's gone, oh, I might need to leave the office early because she had to go and deal with something. So then we just concluded there was no point in me going to the office. So all of this is just part of the whole adaptation thing. This is all just adaptation. Then I get to like 3:45 and that's when I hit you like, is it making sense? Because
were you at home?
I'm still at home them times. So that's why I was like, is it making sense? So adaptation. Final one, stakeholder management. that is all related to the point I made about trying to deal with this report for that client. I'm dealing with people at board level, I'm dealing with colleagues, I'm dealing with senior leaders, I'm dealing with the CEO, I'm dealing with so many different people, and it almost feels like not just individual teams or people who may be at particular levels, but literally it feels like every individual person has a different need. That is hard. Do you get what I'm saying? Because on one hand, you send something out and you've got a load of people that are like, yeah, thanks, this is great, really appreciate this. Just one little note, maybe if you could just specifically say this, or maybe you could just specifically point out this. Then you've got some people who you send the same thing to. Their thing is like, oh my God, we can't send this out. This could cause an existential crisis. That was the word.
Did they actually say that?
Someone said this could cause an existential crisis. Alright, no problem. Response. Can I get on the phone with you?
Existential crisis.
No, but they have every right to say that. Like, their opinion is valid and I understand where they're coming from. This is the hardest thing about all of this is everybody that has communicated with me in this process, I actually understand where they're coming from. Like, there's nobody where I've read an email and gone, oh, you're chatting rubbish. Like, genuinely, all of them have a point. That's what's so hard about this. So that person, I'd straight away, like, let's get on the phone and let's give me your brutal feedback. Give me your brutal insight. Let me share with you some of the things that maybe weren't communicated properly to see if that makes more sense to you now. And fortunately, in taking that approach and saying, let me just pick up the phone and call people if needed and whatever, it's always put people in a sense of like, oh yeah, no, that makes more sense now. Cool, maybe it just didn't come through in the text in the right way. So how can I adjust it to come through in the text better? All of that. But yeah, stakeholder management, boy, because there's a lot of people whose emotions, thoughts, feelings, perspectives that I'm trying to navigate, manage and be supportive of. So I say not just me and Natalie. So yeah, it's not easy, but a lot of stakeholder management. I feel like, I was thinking about this yesterday, I feel like you work all of your career for moments like this, in the sense of like,
the hard moments.
Like, I'm weird. So I felt, you know, the way I feel now dealing with this situation is exactly how I felt in COVID. I know at the time, I don't think you joined Summon PK yet in 2020. I think you joined 2021, but 2020, I had the exact same response. Like, everyone was like, oh my God, we're going into lockdown. This is terrible. How long is it going to be? I don't know. And I just remember sitting in my room smiling and going, I'm going to lead so well that people are not ready for this, you know. I didn't know what my leadership was going to look like. I didn't know what I was going to do.
That time.
Literally, it was within the first 2 weeks, I was just like, this is where leaders stand up and be counted. I just remember thinking, yeah, this is a time of crisis.
True.
Now watch me stand up and be counted. I sent an email to not every, but a lot of organizations that I was connected to. This included, with a Revolution Hive hat on, schools, but as many organizations as I could think of off the top of my head. The email basically said, hey, first and foremost, how are you? How's your family? Hope everybody's doing as best as possible. Happy to hold space for you if you need. Second part of the email was, we're all going through this challenging time together. None of us know what it's going to look like. None of us were prepared for this. But how can I help? Forget money. I don't need money for anything. I just want to help. If that comes in the form of running workshops, if you want to pick my brains, if you want to if you want me to facilitate a session, like, I don't know what it is, but how can I help? Like, because right now we need to all be there for one another. Inevitably, a lot of that converted into very good business, but I didn't actually do it for that reason. I genuinely was just like, stand up and be counted. Do you get what I'm saying? Someone asked me later in 2020 when I went out for lunch, like, why did you do that? Like, why did your brain go there? Honest truth, my brain didn't go there, my spirit went there. And I genuinely believe, I know this is a bit deep for some people, but I genuinely believe this was my grandma working through me. Because remember, I lost Granny Jan the day they announced lockdown. So she passed on the 13th of March 2020. And that was the day Boris said, on Monday, we're going into lockdown. Do you get what I'm saying? If that was the correct date, something like that.
I think it was the 19th. I remember the 19th. But I remember.
Sorry, she passed on the 19th and he said we're going into lockdown on the 23rd. You're correct. Yeah. 23rd of March, right? Yeah. So she passed on the 19th and he said we're going into lockdown on the 23rd. You're correct. So I don't know, but I feel like that was her saying stand up and be counted. Because in a time like this, so would I. And I was like, no, Granny, you're right. You'd have stood up and been counted. Do you get what I'm saying? So
it's true. That is what she would have said.
That's what she would have done, fam. Do you get what I mean? So
that's an interesting week you've had, Lewis, boy.
What a week, boy. What a week. What a week.
And it's only the beginning.
We're going to have to use that as a hashtag still. Hashtag what a week. You get me? That's off, innit? That's soft, innit? That was moist, innit?
That was what I was going to say about boys lip syncing. Soft. It's just soft.
Ria's 3-word week.
My 3-word week, one, I'm gonna say sleep deprived. But it's for good reason though.
It's a
The reason why I'm
brutal
gonna say
It's a
sleep
brutal
deprived.
start.
We're gonna get better, but sleep deprived because was it at the session we was at last week or when we were recording last week? I don't remember what you said about sleepers for suckers or something. What was that thing?
No. Just to be clear, I didn't say
No,
sleepers for suckers.
you were mentioning
I talked
something.
about.
You were mentioning something to me.
Yes, someone who has a brand called Sleepers
Yeah,
for
so
Suckers.
you would mention something to me about a brand called Sleepers for Suckers, yeah.
And then you fell asleep in the car on the way back. And where I mentioned it on the drive back, you fell asleep. So sleep was not for suckers,
No,
clearly.
I fell asleep in the car, yeah, but I fell asleep because I was tired. Do you know what I mean? But what I say all of this to say is that sometimes I put myself to bed, yeah, like I go to bed at my normal time. This is what happened during the course of the week, and I found myself not being able to get into a state of proper rest. Like
Okay,
I'm
that's
not,
fair enough. That happens.
I'm not rested because
yeah.
there are pressing things that I know I need to do. Do you know what I mean? So I got up and I did them. But the thing with me is that when I'm actually enjoying something and I'm immersed in it, it can take me a long time to finish. Do you know what I mean? Because like ideas flow, they go from one idea to another idea, and so that led to me being sleep deprived because I was still getting up early in the morning. Because for me, it's like, you see, once you miss the window, once you wake up past about 9 o'clock, yeah, even on a weekend, the days already rolling. The day's already kind of done, to be honest with you, you know.
That's your life.
So for me, I like to wake up between the hours of 6 and 8 on a good day. But yeah, sleep deprived because when I was actually up at night, I've been getting so much more focus back into my trading game. I've been trading now for about 4 years. At the start of lockdown was when I decided to even start trading. And for the first 2-3 years, it was hard for me to get my head around it. But now I'm actually realizing the reason it was so hard for me to get my head around it is because I wasn't putting in enough effort. Like I thought I was, but I was taking what my mentor was saying to be holy grail. And I was so focused on, okay, what knowledge am I learning? I need to learn this, I need to learn that. When now I'm actually learning, you need to simplify it. The more things you know is the less you feel like you're able to put into action, because you're trying to confuse. You think learning is doing something. It's not. You putting in what you've learned into action is what is actually
100%.
going to make the needle move.
That's what they hear. Not knowledge is power. Knowledge applied.
Knowledge
is
applied is power.
Yeah.
So when I started, I got Trading View Premium, which allows you to go back and look at your trades and keep back testing your strategy. And then once I got the hang of it and the hook of it, and I kept seeing the trades hit the take profit, it became almost like an addictive feeling. Like I want to do it again, and I want to do it again. And I want to keep doing it until I get it right. And so that took me a lot of, I wouldn't say it took me a lot of time, but I lost track of time while I was doing it. Next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I need to sleep now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say sleep deprived, but it's for a very good reason, and I'm actually proud of myself for doing it.
I credit you for that, because that is, you know what it is? You see, sometimes when we do something and we think we're making progress and then we go backwards, that's often the time that a lot of people quit.
Yeah.
Most people, it's not that they, when it comes to climbing a mountain, some people, they don't start climbing the mountain at all. The people that fail is not the people who don't start, it's the people who start and then they settle somewhere on the mountain because they think it's too hard. So then they settle. Then they might end up actually going back after a while, but they've never even decided to persevere with saying, well, let me just at least try to see what's at the next level of the mountain. So you've basically done that. You said, yeah, you know what, like, I may think I've regressed, but I'm in control of my progress. So I can either focus on the regression or the progression. Which one am I going to choose?
Definitely the progression, clearly. But yeah, that leads me into my next word, which is disciplined.
Nice.
And I'll say my week has been disciplined, one, because of what I spoke to you guys just about then, but also because and I've been saying this to my sprint success guys for the past, how long we've been doing it, 4 weeks now. I was actually going to send them a picture last night at 10:30 at night, but I thought it might be a bit too late for me to be messaging in the group chat at these times. But I've been sticking to my daily runs for a minute now. I can't remember exactly how long, but over the course of a couple weeks. And it's gotten to the point now where before, where I was running and then walking and running and then walking, now it's just running. You're running there, and you're running back, and you're running over the bridge in between the park and your house, and the bridge is going up. It's not just a bridge you go over, it's a bridge you go up and you go down and you go up again and then you go down. And
that's a dread bridge. Who made this bridge? Why did you make the bridge like this?
No, because the bridge, it's like you go up and then you walk back on yourself, and then you walk back on yourself, and then you go across, and you have to keep going back on yourself. It's like a windy bridge. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm imagining a bridge that I know to be somewhat similar, but only
you know the blue bridge on Harrow Road.
Yeah.
You know how you go up and then you go down, then you go over and you go round.
Yeah.
So it's like it's got that on both sides, but there's just a lot more curves.
Oh, okay.
So when you're running up it, it's hard. When you're running down it, it's fine. But when you go up it and you run up one time, but then you also got to run up again.
Oh, tell a lie. We have a very similar bridge in Ladywell Park. I'm saying we like I still live in there. But yeah, in Ladywell Park, there's a similar bridge. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shout out Henny Steps still. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. But I say that because like most of the time, I'm not even gonna say most of the time, 99% of the time, I don't feel like going for that run before I go. And then after I've done it, I'm actually very, very fond of the feeling of after you've done it and I'm sweating and I feel accomplished. I just think to myself, like, I'm proud of you. You was disciplined and you did it.
As you should
know
be.
What I mean?
As you should be.
And then slowly I'm looking at my times now. Why am I doing 5k in 35 minutes? It's not right. When I wasn't doing that before.
Good.
So you actually seeing the progress in front of your eyes, in numbers, in figures, just makes you feel a lot better. So
that's dope.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah. Some people can get obsessed with the data, with the numbers, but using it as just a marker of progress is powerful because you can't manage what you don't measure. Like, I'm just sorry, but you can't. Like, everyone will scream smart goals, but the M is measurable. Be like, if you ain't measuring it, like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, the M is really measurable. So, what are you measuring?
It's true.
Or what is your tool for measurement? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how do we determine that? So I'm always seeking. And by the way, measurement isn't always numerical. Like, don't get twisted. Like, there's a reason there's such a thing as quantitative and qualitative data, because the truth of the matter is, like, you can also get measurement through responses that are verbal, lingual, etc. But yeah, like, something's got to be there for you to help to measure whether something's working. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So yeah,
it's true. And also in a way where it's not unhealthy, where you're measuring
that's
it
what
and you're like,
making,
all my days, like, you're so meticulous about the numbers. It doesn't always have to be like that, because there will be days I'll go for a run and actively I know my time is slower than yesterday, or I'm taking a lot more longer walks than yesterday, but I think to myself, I'm doing this out of love for my body rather than a punishment. So you got to start thinking in terms of, you know, pouring into yourself rather than I'm doing this to punish myself.
Word.
And my last one was aligned. The reason I say aligned is because it's actually kind of similar to what Lewis was saying, where on the weekend I'd spent a lot of my week doing things I needed to do. So Saturday I decided, no, I just need a chill day.
Nice.
No, sorry, I was meant to relate this back to Friday. I'll come back to Friday, but Saturday I just decided I needed a chill day. I'd called my sister. I just said, do you want to go out for something to eat? Bear in mind, Lewis had actually called me that morning and asked me if I wanted to go and see the Bob Marley film. I said, I can't go and see it because I went to see it last night. I would have gone and seen it twice because it was a good film, but what was the point, basically? It was so fresh, it was already in my mind.
Yeah.
But I got home that Friday night, and to be very honest with you, I was feeling quite low because I had, you know, just had some family arguments, you know, petty arguments that had dampened my mood a little bit. And as I was driving home, I was driving through Camden and I saw this guy walking through Regent's Park and he was juggling some balls.
Pause. Sorry, I had to. But
he was juggling some spheres,
Yeah.
And he wasn't looking at where he was going. He crossed the road without looking where he was going either. Like, he crossed the road without looking where he was going. And I was thinking to myself, like, is this guy mad? But I was also looking at him in awe because
skillful.
You're very skillful to be crossing the road, not looking at what you're doing, but still juggling all of these things. So now when I get home, wasn't really thinking about it too tough, and I just thought to myself, like, it's a Friday night, I'm inside, little bit bored, what am I gonna do tonight? I decided, let me just take myself down to the cinema by myself.
Nice.
Never taken myself to the cinema before.
Oh, I've been doing that.
Like, I've never been to the cinema by myself.
Solo
ever.
cinema.
And I was
because I talk through the film anyway, so I don't need anyone else to talk
No,
to.
not
I'll be chatting through the film on my Jones. But carry on.
Yeah, I didn't. I've never been to the cinema by myself. Decided to go this time. Went, really enjoyed it, and then as I get somewhat through the film, I'm very much a big fan of Bob Marley anyway. He speaks to my soul. But there was a part in the film where it was like he was juggling balls as well.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it? Yeah. He was
juggling.
He was juggling some spheres. Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, like, wow, that it was aligned in that moment because I had also received a text from, one of the family members. We blessed it out. Or whatever, but
I thought you was gonna say you received a text saying, "Do you want to come to a juggling workshop?" Or like, "Do you want to train to be a clown or something?" Do you get what I mean? Like,
what I remember feeling in that moment when I saw the guy earlier juggling all of that stuff is I felt overwhelmed with, trying to keep up with certain targets that I set myself work-wise, just making sure that you're staying ahead, like, of your peers' endeavors, like. My entrepreneurs will know, like, your brain is always thinking ahead
100%.
of the game. Like, how can I be better? How can I improve? But then also trying to manage your emotions. So all of those things felt like I was juggling at the time. But then I just thought, yeah, I'm juggling it gracefully though. Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%, man.
So that's why it was aligned for me. And I realised I can juggle these things gracefully. And it's not about you doing one thing. A lot of people say just focus on one thing. But sometimes you're just a graceful juggler. And
you're a graceful juggler.
Yeah, and I just got to embrace the fact that I'm a graceful juggler. Do you know what I mean?
That's cool. You reminded me of an idea I had this morning, which I'm trying to work out if we try and do now on the spot, or if we should save this to be.
Are we about to juggle?
No, kind of, but in the sense of, those videos that have been going around, like, I'm a this, of course I.
Oh yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had a thought this morning, while I was in the shower at the gym, and I was like, I want to do one where it's like, I'm an entrepreneur. Of course I have unpaid invoices. I'm an entrepreneur. Of course, I feel like we should do a back and forth one. Like right now. No, but like right now. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. Of course I'm in the office when no one else is here.
I'm an entrepreneur. Of course I'm thinking about money making moves while I'm at a party or a function.
I'm an entrepreneur. Of course I have thousands of pounds of money owed to me because people haven't paid their invoices on time.
I'm an entrepreneur. Of course I have a load of subscriptions for things that I don't even use because I think it will help my business in some way.
I'm an entrepreneur. Of course I get paid last. Come on, the team has to eat first.
I'm an entrepreneur. Of course I'm getting up before 6:30 every day.
I'm an entrepreneur. Of course I'm trying to find a way to sneak in that email when I should be focused on family time.
I'm an entrepreneur. Of course I walk past for sale signs on houses and think, should I just call this estate agent right now and start setting up meetings?
I'm an entrepreneur. Of course I'm so obsessed with my goals that by the time my eyes open in the morning, I just can't help but start to think about them, and I might forget to eat. I might forget to do many other things that are deemed important because I'm so obsessed with how I'm going to reach this goal. Behind the scenes is kind of lit at the same time. Do you get what I'm saying? Letting the podcast, that's exclusive for the pod. Like, you have to be a supporter of the show to have got that behind the scenes. Anyway, let's move into our next segment, which is
Decision of the Day.
Love that. So, decision of the day, Ria. This one was quite easy actually, because what I didn't tell you is there's someone that we met last week, who you hadn't met before, but we met last week, who did this, and I'm interested to know what you would do, and then obviously we want you all to share. Oh, by the way, share in the comments what your 3-word week was, but also what you would do in this scenario. So, you're currently going to university. You've worked hard to get in there. You've obviously done what you needed to do prior in order to be accepted into university. Did what you needed to do. You're studying a course. It's going okay, but you're not necessarily as enthused by it as you once thought you were. The opportunity to do an apprenticeship in something that seems completely different arises. Are you the kind of person that would leave university in, let's say, your second year? Yeah, so you're halfway through your second year, which means you're halfway through a 3-year course, and go and decide to do an apprenticeship instead? Or would you commit to finishing university and maybe look at a potential apprenticeship option after, if it exists to you?
Well, just being frank and coming from a real life standpoint, I would probably leave if I wasn't enjoying it. Reason being is because I did leave. Not halfway through.
But in this one you're kind of. But go on.
Listen, not halfway through. Like 2 years into my degree. Finished my second year, going into my third year and everything, I left. to pursue something I didn't think I would be doing at all in the slightest. So I'm kind of not interested in my course, or
like, as in, it's cool, it's bearable, but you're just not enthused.
Do you know what? My honest advice is, I don't remember where I heard it, but I think I heard from Steve Harvey, was that a lot of people go to university, college, if you're in America, whatever it is, and you make a decision at 17, 18 years old about something that you're going to study for the rest of your life when you don't even know who you are yet. Do you know what I mean? You don't even know who you are as a person, what you like, what you enjoy. And that's why you hear a lot of people who are grown up and they tell you what they did in university, and what they're doing now relates to none of it. Do you know what I mean? That's not me saying you shouldn't finish your university degree. It's not me saying you shouldn't go and pursue a degree, because I do think education is generally important if you're going 100%. To be a doctor or a lawyer, or maybe even a teacher to some extent. Also, I think time is very precious, and I think if I had spent one more year doing psychology, knowing that it was bearable and I did enjoy psychology as a concept, I just didn't enjoy the way it was presented to me. I didn't enjoy the way I was learning. So if I had stayed for another year, looking back in hindsight, I would pick this way 100 times over. Do you know what I mean? Because me putting myself in an uncomfortable position allowed me and afforded me opportunities that I never thought I would have. So yeah, me personally, I would say leave.
It's a good one. I mean, like,
I would say leave, but
I'm leaning towards leave, but there's a big part of me saying commitment is doing what you said you were going to do long after the funeral, which is, you know what I'm saying? So like, there is a part of me thinking, but can you endure and finish, especially if you have the skill set to finish?
But don't you think a year and a half is a long enough commitment time?
Yeah, but then there's only a year and a half left. It's like you're bang in the middle, isn't it? It's like you've done a year and a half and you've also only got a year and a half. So there's so many ways of looking at it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still leaning towards probably leave, but at the same time, I'm also like, so if we go really into the nuance of this, when you get to